What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Hazy Hotbox guided tasting video. Super excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for purchasing the Hotbox and being a part of this. I might be a little biased, but it's a very special group of beers that we have here, and I can't wait to personally taste them all. Super excited to welcome a familiar friend to Hopped LA. This is my brother Mack. And for anyone that's been watching Hopped LA content from the very beginning, this guy looks familiar. He's back after a couple year hibernation, I should say. You were hibernating?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
And his tolerance is way down, and he's going to struggle to get through this tasting. Is that accurate?
It may or may not be accurate. I think what is the most concerning is that it's been a long time since I've drank a lot of hazy IPAs.
Yeah.
And so the palate has shifted. I've, been drinking a lot of lighter beers, lagers, pilsners, things like that. Where 2 years ago I was all about the haze, and still a lot of good beer getting put out in that category. So I'm just excited to sort of branch out again and get back into the IPA swing, and specifically with the hazies. It's a crazy lineup. It's a lineup that I would seek like crazy a couple years ago, and try to make the rounds all over the place to try to get some of these beers. So I'm fortunate to be partaking in this specific hot box opening. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, stoked to have you. And if you're watching this and you remember Mack from the good old days, drop a comment, say what up, share your fondest memories, let them know what you've been up to. Your palate's in for a treat, I think.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
And we're just finishing up our, warm-up beer. It's a little fest beer, a little German lager.
Salute.
All right, good stuff. So first, a little bit of ground rules. We're going to go into this tasting. There's 8 different beers of varying strength and ABV, and we got to be careful here. We got to keep things on track. As we go into the tasting and drink beer after beer, I personally have a tendency to start rambling and talking and getting really excited about the very minutia of some of these beers, and so definitely need to keep things on track. So
that's where I come in.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, let's just fucking drink it.
That's where you've always been helpful for me. So what we're going to do here is a 6-minute time limit per beer. We don't have to stick to it super strict, but I am going to have a timer. You're going to hear some beeps in the background. They're going to hopefully keep us on track and not go too long-winded. And then secondly, we're going to run this from lowest ABV to highest ABV, starting with the Hazy Pale Ale, going up to the Triple IPA. It's going to be a fun time. And if you're watching this live, drop a comment. Let us know what you think about the beer. And if you're watching the replay, I think you can still drop a comment there as well. So, we'll read anything that you drop. And we're excited to interact with you alongside this tasting. And let's dive into beer number 1, shall we? First up is a very special beer out of Anaheim, California. This is Radiant Beer Company. Let's see if we can get the focus on. Probably.
You gotta remove the face.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so this is Second That Emotion from Radiant Beer Company. 5.4% Hazy Pale Ale. This one took home gold at GABF earlier this year in the Hazy Pale Ale category. And then Radiant, as a brewery, took home the Best Small Brewer Award. So just really crazy honors for a brewery that opened up. It was like end of last year, earlier this year. So just really, really cool. So let's crack this beer open and give it a try. And while we do that, take a look down in your hand and take a look at the can. This can is really just like the motif is what their design is all about. It's like this like rainbowy pastel, really cool design that they have going on. Here we go. Pour you up, buddy.
All right.
And this is Radiant. So we're pouring that Hazy Pale. Of course, first things first, we're pouring these into the Hazy Notes glassware.
That's very Very nice looking.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it looks great in the glass, right? So the first custom glass that we've put out at Hopped LA, and you have that like kind of like nice muted yellow orange that, I mean, I think is reminiscent of a pale ale. It's not like too like thick and deep and murky.
I mean, it looks thin, right? So I think it's definitely on the, from a looks perspective, on the more approachable side when you look at just like the thinness.
Nice nose. It's light, it's bright, it's fruity.
Everything that you'd want.
Yeah.
Hazy.
Got a little sweet tart type of vibe coming off it, a little like candy. Flintstone vitamin, maybe not quite that kind of acrid.
Maybe like the Flintstone push pop.
A little push pop, a little Sunny D. All right, let's taste it.
Well, dare we say what we haven't said in such a long time?
I know, I'm so out of practice. Let's give it a whirl.
Crowbars up.
You got to go light on these glasses. They're a little thin. It's really nice. It gives you a nice tropical fruit component that's not overwhelming. It's not like blasting you in the face with like massive, big fruity notes. It's a little subdued, don't you think?
Yeah, and there's like a little ting of bitterness on it, but then everything just kind of like, thins out really quickly after you swallow.
Yeah.
All those flavors you get when the beer's in your mouth, and then once it goes away,
it's a timer.
Really nice. Really nice, easy, like a good way to really, if you're going out for a good, long day of drinking for beers, it's a good one to start with.
This is an excellent warm-up beer. This is the ultimate warm-up beer. I don't know, like if you're not going lager as a warm-up beer, which is where I typically go, this is where someone that's seeking hops but wants a light body, wants a light flavor profile, but still incredibly delicious, incredibly juicy. The balance is really, really cool on this beer. I don't have the hops on this beer. I tried to pull up hops for all the beers that we're drinking today just to give us a little bit of context in terms of what we're tasting. But what I do have is Second That Emotion is part of a rotating hop series that Radiant does. So basically the word motion is what they base all of their hazy pale ales around. And it's essentially the same recipe for each one, but with like a different hop combination. So you'll see, I forget the other ones off the top of my head, but motion is the key word there. So they've used emotion.
Like the name?
Yeah, it's in the name.
Every beer has like some sort of motion.
Yeah, like second motion this is Second That Emotion. There's other ones out there that use the word motion. So if you see a beer from Radiant that uses the word motion in the name and it's a hazy pale ale, you know that this is like, it's part of this series.
Well, this one's going down super quick.
It's really nice. I think this is one of those beers that has a flavor profile that is kind of like nondescript. Like you're not picking out a ton. Like there's not like, oh, there's coconut there. Like, oh, there's like big bright lime there. Like it's kind of a fruit cocktail.
Yeah, there's something that's like overwhelming from just like a flavor perspective. There's like one thing that's overpowering.
It's just good. It's just like really good, really balanced. Really well integrated. Like this fruit is like all integrated very nicely. Really well done beer.
Well, no surprise that they won the award.
No, not at all. Yeah, this is great. I mean, I've had a few other beers from these guys, and they're all terrific. So keep your eyes open for Radiant Beer Company. If you're in Orange County, you probably see them a little bit more than you do here in LA, but you can find them on tap and in cans around Los Angeles. Ventura County, I think, is a little bit more rare, but I would expect to see more of their beers in 2022. So I think we're all in for a treat as they continue to ramp up their production, expand distribution. And, unfortunately, the only time I was at their location was to pick up this beer, and it was during off hours. So I didn't really get a chance to like hang out at the tap room and experience that vibe. I've seen a lot of pictures. I've posted pictures.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
This is a part of a what I thought was a already blossomed beer scene in Anaheim that continues to just get better.
Yeah.
With the opening of
yeah,
Monkish last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Modern Times Leisure Town, Unsung, Radiant, and then just several others. There's a lot of really good places to get beer in Anaheim. So check out Radiant. I think that says everything we need to say.
Well, how far away is Radiant from like Monkish and sort of be like the beer?
It's not walkable.
locations?
Yeah. So Monkish is like in this walkable distance at the packing district.
Yeah.
Where Modern Times and Unsung are all in the same block. This is a little bit further away. I'd say it's like maybe less than 5-minute drive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
That's
it's
not
all
bad.
really close. Yeah. So good stuff. Good stuff from Radiant. So we're gonna move on to beer number 2, and I think I beat the alarm. I don't know. I forgot to set it, so I'm gonna reset it now. Gonna do this. And beer number 2 is a really good beer. I've actually had this a couple times already. This is short-lived. Head out of the way. There you go. All right. We got short-lived. This is from MadeWest Brewing Company in Ventura. This is part of their rotating collaboration series that they do. I'm pretty sure they're all IPAs. Some of them have been, I think, double IPAs, but it's basically an IPA collab series that MadeWest does. And this one's with Humble Sea. Sometimes they're West Coast, sometimes they're hazy. Like they've changed it up. This is most definitely hazy. And I've seen some chatter online how they just have India Pale Ale on it and they don't put hazy or West Coast.
Oh, so it's kind of a surprise.
I think it's one of these things as we've matured, as IPA has matured. People want to know what to expect out of a beer by what's listed on the label, and this doesn't tell you. As a West Coast IPA fan, I'm a big fan of this hazy. So, like, I usually lean more West Coast. I really like this hazy. I think it's done in a way that I think combines some elements of West Coast into it, so that anybody would like it.
Awesome.
So, before I crack it open, the Dino can, I think, is just legit. This isn't what they do for all the short-lived, is it?
I was gonna just ask, like, is that their typical can design for short-lived? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But yeah, no, it's not focusing. Anyways,
well, we gotta move our heads
every time. Yeah, I don't think so either. I think I would have noticed that, but it's a really cool can with these dinos. So let's crack this beer open.
Well, if they have the hot box and they have the beer, then they know exactly what the can looks
like.
Yeah,
You should be looking at the beer, right? Okay, so on the pour, you get a beer that is considerably more firmly in the hazy IPA category from an aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah, deep orange, thick head.
Yeah, really nice looking haze. I really like the look of this beer. It's not like overly murky. It's got this really nice, bright, orange, juicy type of haze with a very nice looking, bright, white, frothy head on top.
Yeah, sometimes I get a little apprehensive when I see like those really murky beers. I'm just like, is this going to be too much of a juice bomb? So you never know what you're going to get, but this definitely looks really, really nice.
Yeah, it really does. So on the nose here.
Oh, we're not drinking yet.
We can. You see, I feel like on the nose you get like a little bit more of dare I say like dankness? There's like a dank component to the nose.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's not like full on sweet fruitiness.
No, there's a little ting of something.
Little ting.
Yeah.
That was my nickname in high school. I'm just checking the URL real quick to make sure this is actually broadcasting. Just because I don't do many of these. One sec. So as I check this, yeah, continuing to get like big orange on the nose, like peel, juice, Really, really nice. It's got this kind of like creamy vanilla thing on the nose too.
Well, I've already started drinking it.
All right, I'm gonna dive right in. It's got this kind of like creamy vanilla. Okay, it's working.
And it's good. I think like when you talk about incorporating some of like those West Coast, attributes, and when you look at it from like an orange, like almost like the peel, right? The rind, like you get some of this like a little bit of like a bitterness or like a dryness.
Yep.
Grapefruit sort of component. Like that's kind of what I would like. Orange tends to be more juicy and sweet versus like I'm getting a little bit more like dry bitter.
It's definitely dry. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very good.
It's really good. So this beer here is 7%, right? Fastball down the middle, hazy IPA, right where you want it to be. Hopped with Citra Cryo, Nelson, and Strata. So I'm gonna try and like dig into that a little bit more. So I know from a dank component on the nose is I'm for sure getting dankness. And Nelson and Strata both for me contribute heavily to the dank side of things. Yeah, I mean, massive citrus, that primarily orange. I would say maybe a little bit of lemon, but mostly orange on that. And then you're getting like a little bit of blueberry, like a little bit of berry fruit, not bright like strawberry, but like I think a little bit of blueberry, and then just a touch of kind of like white wine, like white grape, with that dankness in there. It's really, really nice. It's dry. Like Max said, there's a touch of bitterness on this as well. That basically, like, when you drink a hazy IPA, oh, we should have time. Okay. I'll finish this thought. When you drink a hazy IPA, it can go one of two ways. Or it can go a lot of different ways. But this is the way it goes. It doesn't go too sweet. It doesn't saturate your tongue kind of like juicy. Like this, I wouldn't describe this beer as
no, that's
juicy.
why like I think dry comes out. It's like,
yeah.
And after like this last sip I had, as I sit here, like I can feel my tongue sort of drying up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an interesting component to this beer that I don't think we're going to see on most of the other beers. So I'm enjoying this. And that's why I was kind of going back in the beginning saying West Coast, hazy. Like I think that most people are going to like this beer because it combines a few elements of either side to make something that's incredibly approachable. And I'm super glad we got this. And this is we're sitting on this about just over 1 month old. So it's kind of like right in its prime. As any IPA, you don't want to sit on it. You don't want to wait too long. But there is such a thing as like going too early on it. And I feel like for most of these beers, we're going to be seen at like about a month in. Like I sourced these all like mid-November to like around the Thanksgiving time period. And I think all of them are going to be really close to their prime. And I think this one really is. It was great on tap like that day of, and then it's tasting great right now.
Well, I think that's kind of a nice thing. Well, with beer in general, but even when you think about things like wine and just, there's a maturity that needs to happen sometimes. And, you can drink super fresh, day of canning, get a different experience. And then you drink it a month later when it's had some time to sort of develop in the can. And it's another whole different experience there too.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. So we're 2 beers in, going on to beer number 3. And I'm excited about this because I haven't had this batch of this beer, but I've had this beer in the distant past. So this is a beer from Brewery West out in San Pedro. Let's go. There we go. Money shot. This is called Supercollider. This is a 6.5% hazy IPA. Okay, so I screwed up on the ascending ABV.
Oh, yeah. You jumped the gun on short-lived.
Yeah, I definitely did. So Supercollider is hopped with Citra, Mosaic, and Motueka. And then it's got malted barley, raw oats. And I think that I mean, I haven't seen this batch of this beer, but I think that if you've had a hazy IPA from Brewery West, you kind of have a feeling about what this beer is going to look like. Definitely got to call out the can again. That sticker design is incredibly unique, and it's one you only see, at least here in Southern California, from Brewery West. So it stands out on the shelf. It's incredibly eye-catching, and I'm excited to have this beer in the box.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always loved that about their can designs is that, like, and we've had these conversations so many times, like where, you know, consumer going to their to the local bottle shop and, you know, places like High-Low Liquor,
High-Low,
where it's when you see a Brewery West can, you know exactly like where it's coming from. Like, you know, that's Brewery West. There's no other brewery that has that sort of approach to can design like they do.
Yeah, it's so cool. And yeah, again, on the aesthetics of this beer, this is Brewery West style haze. It's kind of what I like to call it, maybe San Pedro style haze. It's got like a little bit, I don't know how to describe this. It's a little bit more pale, and I always want to say milkier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna kind of comment on the fact that there you go. That with Brewery West, I think it has to do. I think they brew a lot with oats and different sort of
the malt bill. Yeah.
And then that's what each one tends to have. Like that's a component of like their beers. Like it's got sort of that milkiness to it, and even like it's funny. Like even on the nose, as we'll get into it. Like there's just a certain like distinction that Brewery West has when you smell their beer. That's like there's a familiarity. Like I kind of know I'm drinking a Brewery West beer.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of the nose, I was blown away by this nose. Massively bigger than the two beers that we just had. Massively.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this one.
Ooh, it is big. It just blasts you right in the face with aroma.
I think like maybe like the aroma that I think about when I talk about the familiarity is like there's always like this big pineapple component that at least I get from beers.
It's massively tropical. It's pineapple. It's guava. It's
pina colada,
lemon lime.
Maybe without the coconut. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I don't get coconut, but it's everything else. Yeah, it's definitely everything.
It's every tropical thing but the coconut.
It's I think it's huge citrus peel too, like lime and lemon peel.
So like you can make a candle out of this, and I would.
Oh my god, it's so good. Yeah, I don't even need to drink it. I can just smell it. This is a really, really incredible aroma. I'm going to try and remember this because at the end of this tasting, I'd like to pick my favorite beer from a taste, and then I'd like to pick my favorite beer from an aroma perspective. So let's like just kind of lock this in for a second because this is leader of the pack.
Yeah, front runner so far.
Yeah, totally. Hopped with Citra, Mosaic, and Motueka.
All right, are we drinking this thing now?
Yeah, let's drink it. So actually the body is way thinner than I thought it would be.
Yeah, the aroma is like punches you in the face, and then the body, it's a little, I want to say underwhelming because I still think it's good, but it takes you a little bit by surprise. Like I wasn't expecting it to be as thin as it was.
Well, honestly, I feel like, so we were talking malt bill earlier, and you know, for anyone watching that isn't super tuned into brewing process, hazies are dictated by malt bill and your yeast. So there's different yeast that you can use to make things hazy. There's different malts that you can use to make things hazy. That's typically it. Hops, the way you use hops is it, but it gets technical. But anyways, at the appearance of this beer, I think I felt like it was going to be a little more chewy, a little softer. I mean, it's pretty soft, so I don't want to say that, but chewier, thicker, creamier. It's got a lightness to the body, and I don't hate it. That's the thing, is I actually kind of like it.
Yeah. Well, and I wasn't saying like I hate that I said underwhelming because I didn't really mean it like it was a disappointment.
Yeah.
It was just different than what I was expecting.
Yeah, I hear you. Definitely different. It's still really flavorful, I think. I'm getting again, orange. Like orange keeps coming out, and I don't know if that's like something sticking with me from the previous beers on my palate. That's just like orange, orange, orange. But this is like big orange juice, big orange peel.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the Brewery West hazies tend to have that anyways. Like a lot of their beers are like sort of that like big orange tangerine.
Tangerine.
Big
There you
sweet
go.
Citrus.
There you go. Yeah, it's more tangerine than orange, I think. I'm gonna do a little more on that.
Maybe from like a sweetness perspective, right?
Yeah, totally. And there's a bitterness to this, and I don't know if it's actually bitterness or if it's like kind of like that bitter citrus flavor and not like actual alpha acids from the hops. But there's definitely like a perceived bitterness, I think, on this. Just like the MadeWest, it's not as dry as MadeWest, but there is a little bit of a dryness to this as well. It's not like full on sweet. I wouldn't like if you would say, is this a sweet beer? I would say no. There's like not a lot of residual sugar in this beer. It drinks very juicy, but it drinks on the drier side too.
Yeah, and I think that sort of helps with the just the overall sort of mouthfeel, like the thinness. It's like I think you think because it's thin, you pick up a little bit more of that bitterness. You don't get a whole lot of residual sweetness to it.
Yeah, this is good. I like this. Yeah, I like this a lot. I feel like
it's a 6.5% too. I think like this is like when you want to bring like a hazy IPA to a party and like share it with friends and stuff, or hold it to yourself. This is a good beer to bring to the table.
Yeah, I was gonna actually note the ABV. I think that at 6.5%, that's dictating what we're experiencing here. Whereas if this beer was like upwards of 8%, we'd be talking about sweetness. We'd be talking about body, chewy, creaminess. And this doesn't have that. And I think that's entirely intentional. This actually, like, to be completely transparent, is the oldest beer in the box. I think this one was like closer to the beginning of November. So we're like approaching the 2-month mark on this box, or like month and a half mark, which isn't bad. But I think that we're seeing, I would say that we're not at like the peak of the prime, but we're like on the flat line there. Like it's not down, it's not degrading at all.
Right before it starts to.
Yeah, like if I was going to tell anyone like which beer should you drink first, if you're like just reaching for one beer, I'd probably do this one just because we're hitting that like kind of like older age on it. And I hate to say older at 2 months or less than 2 months, but fact of the matter is like freshness is the name of the game, and you kind of have to play by those rules. Even though these beers are engineered to last past 2 months. These beers are engineered to last on a shelf or in a cooler in some of those bottle shops. So the fact that we've kept it cold and we've kept it like in really good condition, I think are a positive to that. But yeah, I would drink this first. And it was one of those things where it was like either no Brewery West or we get this one. And I was like, you know what? Let's go for this because I really want Brewery West in this box. I think there's a place for them here, and I'm really glad that they're showing up.
Well, yeah, and I think they got a lot of shout outs, in that Hazy IPA list was updated, that people were shouting out Brewery West.
The most. Yeah, they got the most. So yeah, if you're a fan of Brewery West, enjoy this. And if you haven't had much of their beer, hopefully you like this one because they're one of the best in the game for sure. So the timer went off. So that means it's officially time to move on to the next beer. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Luckily, we're not doing big pours. So
I know.
It's, we're pacing ourselves and, palate cleansing along the way.
Yeah, seriously. I wish I had like some crackers or something just to kind of like neutralize a little bit.
A little ginger, like when you're eating sushi.
Yeah.
Ginger. I'm just kidding.
The ginger equivalent.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Unsalted crackers, right? Isn't that what we used to use for Cicerone training?
Yeah, unsalted crackers. And then I guess like if you're like, and this is more of like a nose thing, but when you're like trying to cleanse your nose palate with like perfume, you sniff the coffee beans. You know, not perfume.
I don't know if
cologne,
I don't know if
whatever.
you remember this this little hack, and I was using this last weekend judging the Black Lager Fest thing at Arts District. Sniff your skin. You don't have coffee beans at the ready. Sniff your skin on your arm. Reset your aroma, olfactory senses.
Just make sure you're not doing it like right after you take off like a watch after like wearing
like or spraying cologne to that matter. Yeah. Okay, so I only pulled out 3 beers. We drank the 3 beers. It's time to re-up. What do we have next? I'm gonna grab them out.
Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, you only have 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You only have 7 beers on this list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm missing one. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Ooh. Oh, Tarantula Hill. Yeah. It's okay.
He fucked up.
I'll improv that one. But that one is 8% too. So we'll go with Fractal Realm, and then we'll go with the Tarantula Hill one. Cool. All right, let's do this. So, modern times time. Yeah. Fractal Realm with the classic like modern times limited release can design. So this is usually like their limited release stuff looks something crazy like this. This is actually a really sick design, I think.
Yeah. I've had this beer before.
You have?
I think so.
Oh, so they've brewed this before. So I didn't go too deep on it.
I think it was one of those like I had it at like, you know, at the tap room or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't go too deep on the history.
The name sounds familiar.
It does. So yeah, that's true.
But they tend to have like names that are similar.
Yeah, I think you're right. I do think you're right. That name does sound really familiar.
Like the Bigness Dojo or something like
back in the day.
Yeah.
So this one, yeah, this might be the first time in cans for it. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So Fractal Realm in cans, modern times, brewed at San Diego, or actually no, this one was brewed at Leisure Town in Anaheim. Mm. So their new location in Anaheim, 8% hazy double IPA. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Modern Times is another brewery that, so this entire hotbox is kind of based off of our revamp of our best hazy IPA, best hazy brewers list. And we expanded to include more than just Los Angeles, but also like broadly Southern California-ish. And Modern Times had to be on that list. They have a very unique approach to hazies. And when I reached out to them, they had just packaged this and put this on sale at a very limited capacity. So I think you had to purchase like directly from the brewery or directly like through them to get this beer. So I'm excited to get this beer into everyone's hands. And honestly, I'm excited to try it myself because I have not tried this beer.
All right.
So let's do it.
Exclusive, hotbox exclusive. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Modern Times hazies. And even I think now they even classify what Orderville as a hazy. Remember when that one came out?
Yeah.
I feel like it started maybe more West Coast and it leaned.
I forget what it was. Yeah. Well, because a number of those beers kind of like transformed.
Well, I think that was one of the first to like sort of become more readily available. And as hazy became sort of a buzzword or a way to describe the IPA, and that this maybe sort of changed.
It was a pale ale, wasn't it? Or no?
I don't think so. I think it's always been an IPA.
So, haze aesthetic, got to call it out. Like orange juice forward visual here. Yeah, just bright orange.
This one's
frothy.
Frothy. Our first double.
Our first double IPA here.
And you can like smell it. And you can like, you know that you're smelling a double IPA or hazy double.
And why is that?
I mean, it's more.
Can you describe it?
Well, I mean, the first thought for me was like I can kind of like smell like sort of the booze a little bit.
Yeah, for me, sweetness.
Yeah,
Like
well,
there's
I think that's what it is.
there's
Like I
like a
connect like the
sweetness here.
booziness is to me is like the sweetness.
Yeah, this is the first, I would say, sweet aroma that we're getting on tonight's tasting. It's got that like creamy vanilla thing going on. Again, I gotta go back to orange. I don't know. I think I'm gonna be stuck here the entire night, but it's more than citrus. It's definitely no peel. Like a lot of these were like kind of bright light peel aromas. This is like juice. This is overripe. What else?
Yeah,
Pineapple.
It's really the fruit when it's in its prime. Like when you take that bite of an orange,
Sticky.
And the juices are just kind of spilling out of your mouth. Yeah, no, definitely. Yes,
I'm getting just like a visual of like a chunk of pineapple and just juice is sticking to your beard.
No, stickiness is good. I think that's kind of an interesting adjective to use. But I guess that kind of connects it with that point I just made. Like that, like the juice is like it's just so ripe and sticky.
Yeah, and you're getting that sticky juice off of that tropical fruit in a tropical environment. Like, you know what I mean? Like this nose brings me to humidity. This nose isn't the dead of winter. Like this isn't. I mean, this is like the dead of winter in fucking San Fernando Valley right now. Like it's like 50 degrees, but this is like humidity. This is sticky. This is tropical. No coconut. I'm not getting like that far tropical, but I'm getting mango. I'm getting orange. I'm getting pineapple.
A little guava.
Yeah. A little bit of that like kind of like funky tart guava on the back end of the aroma. Okay, I'm gonna drink this beer. Okay. Oh, I got it in my nose.
I got it all over my beard. Not as like sweet that I got from the nose.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mouthfeel. It's not even like all that creamy. To me, it's like pretty thin, but it's obviously a lot thicker than the last few beers we had. I still kind of get a little dryness to it.
I don't know if that's dryness or that's like that boozy component, like that boozy fizz kind of thing that happens on the back of your tongue.
Maybe
this is a little bit boozy to me, not overly, but it's showing the slight signs of booziness on this. Like, hey, I'm 8%. You've stepped things up to the next level.
Well, especially now, like when I've had a couple sips, I'm starting to feel a little warm and fuzzy inside.
Still really drinkable. Body is actually relatively light. Like there's like a thinness to the body. Like straight juice, like no pulp type of thing.
Yeah.
No creaminess. I'm really not getting that. Very nice tropical flavors, but it goes down quick and fast. It leaves your palate.
Doesn't really give you enough time to really like extract like the flavors. At least for me, I'm like maybe my palate is very weak.
No, I definitely agree. I think that's what it meant by fast, is that it just like it hits you, tropical flavor. It swishes around your tongue really quickly and it doesn't like saturate in because it's kind of light. And then it goes down your throat and you're kind of like, all right, I guess I'm ready for more. The only thing that's kind of like in the back of your mind there is that like, I can tell there's a little booze on this. Like I'm not going to chug this beer.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely, and maybe it was engineered this way to keep you wanting more.
Yeah, it's a really interesting beer.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite of the tasting so far. Either from aroma or flavor, but I do find it incredibly interesting. And I guess I'll say hopped with Idaho 7, Citra, and Cashmere. Citra, let's see. Have we had Citra on every... So we didn't know the hops in Second That Emotion, but Citra has been in all the beers so far. I think that there's a good chance it was in Second That Emotion. But yeah, I mean, obviously we've had a ton of citrus notes on all these beers. Cashmere is like
Gosh.
the supreme hazy IPA hop. A lot of tropical fruit component there. Idaho 7 plays in both IPA categories. It brings a little bit of a dinkness that I'm not getting in this, but it also brings a lot of fruitiness too. But I think like when we're talking about sticky, I think that's where we're getting from Idaho 7.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Well, the timer went off, so that does it for this beer.
Are you gonna dump this one? This wasn't your favorite, I think.
No, it wasn't my favorite. I mean, it's but it's at now that we're at 8%.
Do you need a dump bucket?
You
Do
can't
we need
just
to get something?
no. I'm not. I don't have to waste it.
Okay.
I'm almost
right.
done. I got one sip.
So for everyone watching, this is your public service announcement to drink some water, reset the palate, hydrate a little bit, turn to your loved one, tell them you love them. Good stuff. All right, so we are moving on to our second double IPA. This one is not on my notes because I completely forgot about it.
We're officially in the second half of the tasting.
And this is where I improv the best. Second half of the tasting is my groove. So this is called Mango Faux Show. Let's get out of the way here. And yeah, really nice looking can. I mean, they're setting the tone here, right?
Well,
we've been talking
exactly what this is going to taste like.
I mean, this looks like the setting that we were just describing that last beer in.
Yeah.
So
South Beach, Miami.
This is Tarantula Hill Brewing. So I would say they're probably the smallest, other than Radiant, but they're also very small and a little bit less well known than some of the others on this in the hot box.
Tarantula Hill being out of Thousand Oaks, California.
Thousand Oaks, California. Mango Faux Show is a double hazy IPA, 8% as well. And see, Tarantula Hill, I love them for this. They always put the ingredients on the back of their can. So no matter what beer you're having from them, just look on the back. They tell you the malt, they tell you the hops, and any adjuncts that happen to go into it. So this beer is obviously by the name, it's brewed with fresh mango. This is a brewery only release. You'd have had to go to the brewery to get this beer. And yeah, I'm super stoked to have it in the box because I really like those guys at Tarantula Hill. They're doing some really cool stuff. Their beer is starting to get out there more and more. But their tap room is just a great spot to hit up as you're going up or down the 101 freeway. Right off the freeway.
Good pizza.
Good pizza. Yeah. Good beer. So, on the malt side of things, because we know this, 2-row malted wheat and oats. Cool. Hopped with Simcoe and Citra. And so I find this really interesting when I saw that. And when I was, I'll get out. Oh, yeah. Okay, so on the aesthetic side of things.
Bright orange.
No, I was going to say dark. There's a darkness to this beer that we haven't seen yet. There's like a dark, murky, overripe orange type of thing going on.
Oh, see, like when I think of when I say bright.
Well, we have massive lights right in front of us.
Yeah. No, but like there's those hazies that they're like this like pale orange.
Yeah.
Murk.
Yeah.
Versus this to me it has a sort of like maybe it's the lights, I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like has it is murky.
It's like a true orange, like a glowing orange.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
That was kind of what I was.
Yeah, I see what you were going for. This is a darkness that the beers that we've had so far haven't had. Hazy for sure on the appearance. But what I was saying was that this hop bill, and I said this to their brewer Mike, I was like, Simcoe and Citra as a hop combo, you don't see on hazy IPAs. That's a West Coast IPA hop combo. Yeah. Usually you're seeing Cashmere, usually you're seeing Strata, you're seeing Galaxy, you're seeing Eldorado.
I just took a whiff of this thing. Ooh. Those mangoes are just bursting.
Yeah, it's kind of funky. It's got like a funky. It's sweet. It's jammy, but it's also kind of like feet. Right? It's kind of got like a sock thing.
I don't know, but yeah, maybe a sock thing. Like, you know, you just ran a half marathon and peeling your socks off for the first time.
No. But it's jammy, right? It's got like this like jammy, like mango preserve.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I was initially gonna say.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. That there's like a. And I think it may this may be a stupid way to describe it, but yeah, you didn't start the timer, did you? Anyways, like you don't, I mean, with like, you know, 50-50 bars, it's like orange and vanilla, right?
Yeah.
You don't traditionally see like a mango coupled with that sort of the vanilla component. And so when I smell it, I'm like, this could be like what it would be like if I were to like open up a bar of like a mango 50-50 bar. There's like this little bit of like vanilla-y. Maybe that's the funkiness, is like that flavor with mango isn't really usually used. So it's like it's
well,
unique.
I think that you know, where my mind went was actually like you know, the tart frozen yogurt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That with like fresh mango preserve topping. You know?
I get. Yeah,
I think it's creamy, but it's also like got this like weird tartness to it too.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to describe it.
Like almost like yogurty,
because there is kind of like this. Yeah, there's a little tartness to it.
Yeah, it's got this like kind of like yogurt.
That's exactly what
thing.
It is. It's like, it's that tart, like, tart. I mean, I don't think it's vanilla, but tart yogurt.
Yeah, there's like a sweetness, mango. But it's also tart. Yeah, it's
interesting.
It's very interesting. I'm not sure if I love it or not.
Well,
but
I mean, even that frozen yogurt itself is like an acquired taste. You kind of have to like that.
Yeah. Okay, let's try it.
It's kind of the same, like, I feel like I'm like drinking the liquid form of that tart mango yogurt,
but with the sweetness kind of dropped out.
Yeah, no,
it's earthy. This is earthy, and like it's earthy and tart. It's weird.
There's almost no, maybe the sweetness hits like right in the beginning you get the mango, but then like it really just drops out.
Yeah. So I'll go on the record here and say I don't like this beer, and that I think I've had this beer the day they canned it, and I had this beer today, and this beer's dropped off. This beer is not what it was. And
when did they can it?
It was right before Thanksgiving, like the 18th or something. But this beer has dropped off, and I think the fruit has like everything to do with that.
I think when you're working with fresh fruit, it's a whole different ballgame.
And I think if you're like a big brewery, like manufacturing a fruited IPA, there's different processes and ingredients that go into preserving what was produced that day. Yeah. And when you're a small brewery, you make beer to be drank within the month, even though this is within the month, I think, or around a month. I do feel there's a drop off here, but I don't want to like discount the experience here. I think it's really important to drink beers like this to just like understand what can happen to beer after a month. So this isn't my favorite beer. It was really, really good on canning day when I said, yes, let's put this in the box. This is a delicious beer. But it's not bad though, right? I mean, is it bad? Do you think it's bad?
No, it's not bad whatsoever. It's different. And no, like I can keep drinking it and I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think when you talk about not liking it in the context of the rest of the beers you've been drinking.
I feel like this tasting has gone like this, and then this beer, it didn't go down, it didn't go up, it zagged. We just zagged out of like the progression that we were in.
An alternate
1985. Yeah, we just went into the alternate 1985. We're drinking a mango double hazy IPA that is just strange and weird and different. And I hope some of you like this beer. I do see the benefits and like I see the value of this beer. I like the fact that it exists, but it's not my favorite beer. The tasting, I think it's time to move on off this beer.
Yeah.
I will close it out by saying I 100% love Tarantula Hill and what they're doing. I would continue to look out for more of their West Coast and hazy IPAs, as well as a lot of their other beers, and make their Thousand Oaks tap room a stop for you if you're ever going up or down the 101 across like the San Fernando Valley, Ventura County line area.
What's that beer they have? Is that Cali Day that they have?
Cali Day is one they have. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really
like
good
that
one. Yeah, their standard West Coast IPA, Tarantula Hill IPA, is really good.
Yeah.
But like I was saying in the beginning too, is that this is hopped with Simcoe and Citra. This is not your standard hazy IPA hop profile. So this is a West Coast IPA hop profile that they were using mango to deliver like that fruity, juicy component in. And when the mango drops off, you're kind of left with this beer that's like, it doesn't have an identity. And I think that's what we're feeling here today is that like, this isn't a West Coast IPA. It's not really very like, it doesn't taste like a hazy IPA. This is a fruited ale.
It looks like a hazy, but yeah.
Right. It's like a fruited ale that like a hoppy fruited ale. And it's interesting. And yeah, I mean, I'd still drink it for sure. Okay. Next beers. Casa and Highland Park.
Oh man, we're closing this thing out with a triple, huh?
Yeah.
Whew. Just time. All right. So we are, in the second half of the tasting here. Moving on to Soonday Dream by Casa Agria, 8.4% hazy double. And I don't think I've ever seen this beer before, to be honest.
I don't think I have either. Okay, Soonday Dream, Casa Agria. So if you're not familiar with Casa, they're located in Oxnard, California, and they were recently elevated to our best hazy brewers list. They've been doing hazies for several years now, but super consistent on the hazy for the past like 3-4 years. I think they really kind of like, they show up in like the haze aesthetic, like kind of like a Brewery West type of thing. Like I feel like I know Casa Agria's hazies when I see them. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. And I think with theirs, like when I was talking about the last beer being like bright, Casa's beers, their hazies tend to be like a little less
pale.
Yeah, a little more on the pale, murky,
cloudy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like Casa started getting more widespread distro tail end of 2019 into 2020 as like everything went crazy. You started to be able to find their beers at like better bottle shops throughout Los Angeles. But I don't know if they really got into Orange County. But either way, they're not a mainstay at most bottle shops. And so that's why I was like, we need to have Casa in this. I reached out to their team and their sales guy, and I was like, what do you have that's hazy coming up? And they're pumping out a lot of beer right now. Like he was like, we got this, let's do this. And I agreed to it. And then they had like another hazy the week after, another hazy the week after that. And they're just pumping out beers. So Soonday Dream, one of my favorite labels of the box too, like just really unique. I love that astronaut just like giving himself to the powers that be
from the wheat fields.
Yeah, that is a cool label. It really is.
Well, I wonder, like, so because I know Casa, they moved from that little location in that business park to like the front, which is much bigger, and so I wonder if that had something to do with like the larger production output. Like I don't know if the brew house changed. I know the tasting room changed, but I don't know like from the size perspective if that's
yeah.
why
I don't really know the details either. I'd love to find that out. When I was there was a hell of a racket. So I'm pretty sure they were canning beer when I was there. I couldn't see any of it, but it was all behind everything. So there's production going on in some part of that facility. I feel like they probably moved everything over. In my opinion, it looks like a way bigger space.
Yeah. Well, so
have you been in?
I haven't. I want
to go.
I need to
go. Okay, let's crack this open. I feel like there's a good portion of the people that purchased this hot box that may have tried Casa Agria at some point in the past, and then there's probably some that haven't. So I feel like Casa started out. I mean, Casa Agria, like, and my pronunciation might be terrible, but in Spanish translate to sour house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Casa Agria. Yeah, that actually sounds better. So it translates to sour house. So these guys started out as like a sour only producer, where had no tasting room. We're doing like gypsy brewing and just like barrel aging sours and things like that. And then eventually got their own brew house and started producing some hazy IPAs on occasion. And now it's a big piece of what they do. So it's one of the best things they do, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and they with the sours, that's what they won awards for. And so they do that really well. And then when they got into the kind of like a Monkish, right, where they were doing one thing and then decide, for the longest time, we're like no IPAs, and then they started doing the hazies and started blowing it out of the park. So, I mean, Casa, it was one of those breweries where cruising through the Ventura County, going into Oxnard and being like, we got to stop at Casa. It's right off the freeway. And seeing like something like Jets Overhead on tap, or like what IPAs are on tap, and every single one like always really blew me away.
Yeah,
always did things really, really well. So, and then as we talked about, like that's your classic Casa, look and to their hazies.
I feel like it looks way better in a full glass.
Yeah, definitely.
But you get your classic like Casa Agria haze here that has a murkiness, it has a cloudiness, it has a creaminess, it's pale, it's juicy, it's orange.
And even the aroma's got a distinctive, smell.
Ooh,
it's like
I like that aroma. I like that aroma a lot.
Yeah, me too. I haven't had a Casa Agria.
This got
IPA.
It's got a dank nose. This has Nelson in it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does. Shit, man. Yeah, it's dank. It's got like a white wine type of nose to it. That is good. Okay, hopped with Nelson, Citra, El Dorado, 8.4%. So we're climbing our way up there. Last one was 8%. This one's 8.4. Yeah, I mean, this has a like serious dankness on the nose.
I can't wait any longer. I'm going in.
So I'll say this before I go into it. This might be my contender for aroma. What was my first one? The MadeWest beer?
Brewery West.
Okay, so this is my contender.
Ooh,
this is a really nice nose.
That just takes me back to like hitting up their tasting room.
Softest beer we've had tonight.
Yeah,
soft. The mouth feels pillowy.
It's pillowy. It's sweet, but not too sweet. At 8.4, like you never know what you're gonna get, but. Yeah, I mean, soft.
White wine, white grape component, like big time. It's less juicy than any of the beers we've had tonight. It's not like tropical. This is not a tropical beer.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know if it's because of the sort of the ABV. I don't know why I'm like getting like that still like that dryness at the end, where it's like it's a little bit. I'm not saying it's like oh, this is a dry, bitter beer.
I think the reason why you're feeling that is because it hits really kind of like with this big, massive wave of sweetness at the front end, and then it ends really balanced. It doesn't end overly dry, but I feel like you can think it is because the front end is like a big hit.
Yeah, it's a big hit, which I like. I like that it like balances itself out in your in your mouth.
Yeah, it's creamy at the front.
Yeah, it's super creamy.
Wow,
it's good.
That's really good.
This might be.
That's my first time having that beer too. That's really good. You guys are in for a treat. That's an awesome beer.
And honestly, with Casa Agria, like their single IPAs, single hazies, got to be like when I think about like what are the best hazy IPAs I've had.
Yeah,
probably come from Casa.
Yeah, really good. Wow, Nelson, Citra, Eldorado. It's dank. It's got this like citrus peel thing going on. It's like not citrus juice, maybe a little lemon juice, but it's like lemon peel, lime peel, and then it's got like a little bit of blueberry on it. It's really, really nice. This beer's great.
So fantasy football.
Yeah, I guess I just advanced in my playoffs on fantasy football.
Good for you.
It was a terrible week. Yeah, it was one of those weeks where everyone scored like 0 on both teams, and it was like, all right, this is over. And I guess I must have won. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna move on. You want to move on?
For me, I mean, I have a buy in the consolation bracket this week.
Yeah, me too. In that league.
Yeah. That was pretty upsetting.
Okay.
I missed the playoffs by this much.
Soonday Dream is a fucking highlight of tonight so far.
Yeah. I think everyone will get a kick out of this one.
Wow.
That's good.
That was awesome. Okay, let's move on.
All right, hold on.
Before I get too in love with that beer. Wow, that is so good. Okay, so I know I love this next beer. And so now it's like a battle of like, which beer do I love more? And I'm having them back to back. Reminder, gonna hydrate. Let's do this. We're at the 1 hour mark.
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 beers left, so stick with us.
Okay.
Doesn't feel like an hour. This is kind of flying by.
Yeah. All right. So before I crack it open, this is Sugar on My Tongue. Hazy, double IPA, double dry hopped with Citra, Strata, and Nelson. We've had that combo. MadeWest had that combo. They had Cryo Citra. But yeah, Citra, Strata, and Nelson.
Well, I think maybe even the double dry hop component will make this a little bit different.
It will be different. Yeah. I mean, it's double IPA too. It definitely will be different, but Citra, Strata, and Nelson is like my fucking thing. Like that is like my wheelhouse right there. Citra, Strata, Nelson. If you had like a bunch of hazies on and they're all done with different things, and there's one that was Citra, Strata, Nelson, that's the one I'm going for. I love that hop combo. Strata is my favorite hop. Nelson is my second favorite hop, and Citra, you can throw it anywhere and it'll do wonderful things.
You know what hop I kind of miss as we crack this open? Like I don't really see it around. I mean, I'm not like shopping around for beers a lot, but Mosaic.
Mosaic's everywhere.
Yeah, but like
Mosaic's in everything except for everything tonight.
Everything tonight. I was gonna say. I was like,
have anything from Beechwood. Everything's Mosaic.
Yeah, well, I know that. I know Julian loves Mosaic. When
Mosaic is kind of one of those things that like I see everywhere.
Remember the
it's in this one, it's in that one. That's it.
And just shout out to the old Noble Ale Works shower series.
Yes.
Citra showers and Mosaic showers were like my top 2.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Yeah, they were awesome. You know what was cool about that series is that it was a double IPA series.
Yeah.
And that they were in bombers. It wasn't like a pale single hop pale ale that you had to like get on tap at a brewery. Like you buy a bomber of single hop double IPA. Where can you get a single hop double IPA now? Like
Nowhere.
no one does that.
No one does that.
There's probably a reason for that, like from a brewing perspective and business perspective.
Yeah,
but
so.
I do remember, well, we grabbed every Shower Series beer. We had one of our biggest early articles.
Is that even still up on the site?
It's not, no. So out of date. But the remember Sriracha Ace, like understanding
that
some
was
of these
crazy. That was like cotton candy.
Waidi, like some of these hops that like were just
maybe it was like, there was one there. There's one funky.
Sriracha Ace was like dill. It was a weirdo dill hop.
Yeah,
you don't see it anymore.
And then there's one that like tasted like cotton candy. Maybe that was the
Waidi.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of different ones, but that was a really cool series.
Shout out to the old Noble Ale Works, man. Tongue tickles.
Yeah. Did you see? So obviously Evans at Green Cheek. Now Brad is there too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
the old team.
Yeah,
getting back together.
Too bad their beer doesn't come out here. I tried so hard to get their beer in this box.
Next time.
So hard. Couldn't do it. Okay.
What's going on with Noble anyways?
No idea.
Nothing? Yeah. Well, they had like that big expansion. Yeah.
No clue.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay. Sugar on my tongue. 8.5% hazy double IPA, Citrus Strata Nelson. As I said, this is another GABF winner. So we got two in this box. This one won bronze for Imperial Hazy 2020. And on the aesthetic here, for me, this is the classic Highland Park haze. Get out of the way there. Highland Park, so it's got this like murky orange, but it's got like a sheen to it. Like there's like, it's not like, you know how there's some that are like more matte?
A Martin Sheen?
Yeah, Martin. You know how some of these hazies have like a mattness to it, like a cloudy like mattness.
Yeah.
This has like an orange sheen. It's like bright. It shines. I like this this haze aesthetic. Any hazy?
Sheen. Is that a word?
Sheen? I'm throwing it out, man.
Right.
Oh, as a word at all? Yeah, sheen.
Oh.
Yeah, sheen, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, sheen. Okay, so
bright lights in my face. Okay, there we go.
I really like the haze aesthetic from Highland Park Brewery. Any of their hazy IPAs that I've had recently, I've been like, I like the way that looks. We were doing yeah, I didn't turn off Do Not Disturb here. Oh no, I do have it. It's on here. So when I was doing the mock-ups for this glassware, I was hunting to get the Highland Park haze aesthetic on the mock-up with my designer. It was very difficult to achieve. We didn't achieve it.
What do you mean?
Before I had my hands on this beer, I had the glass already designed. I was trying to like design a mock-up with like a Highland Park haze. That was the direction that I gave the designer. Like, hey, I want Highland Park haze in this beer, and he didn't get it. So it's all good. I'm just going to say how sought after this hazy IPA is, even from a just design digital world.
And the designer's name is Mackenzie, right?
No, okay. So the designer of the glass is Mackenzie, but the mock-up was Luke.
Oh, Luke. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into that nose a little bit.
Right. Oh, yeah.
More citrus.
I've been smelling it like crazy.
More white wine too.
I mean,
pineapple too.
And it smells boozy. It smells sweet.
Yeah.
Very tropical.
Yeah, there is this like element of like, it's like I don't know. It's kind of like when you stick your nose in, there's like a fog of aroma in there that's like dank and boozy and sweet. It's a good nose. It really is a good nose. But you got to be ready for it. Like if this is your first beer of the day and you stuck your nose in there, you're like, all right, got to get myself ready to drink this beer.
Well, and also the aroma isn't like so overpowering that it's almost like when I smell it, it's got these balances, these checks and balances happening, which make me feel like at 8.5%, there's a little shark underneath the underneath the water here. That's why when I drink it, it's gonna be like, whoa, like all the flavors just gonna rush.
All right, let's drink it. Really nice body.
Smooth.
Yeah. I love the body on this beer. At 8.5%, like this is where you're getting into like where a hazy IPA defines itself from a body perspective. It's soft, it's creamy, not too creamy. There's a smoothness to it. It's really, really nice. Like the body of this beer, I think, is the best body that we've had so far. It's really, really nice on the mouthfeel.
Yeah, and it's just like incredibly well balanced. I think like with all the past beers, we're sort of picking out like the irregular aspects to it. Like this is just completely there's just balance from a mouthfeel, flavor. There's the dankness, there's a little booziness, but it all like marries really well into this really clean, easy drinking at 8.5%, dangerously drinkable experience. And I wouldn't expect anything less than from Highland Park.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best beer we've had so far, for sure. It's delicious. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's really, really well done. It's I mean, we all obviously have to have the triple IPA, which I always have like a little bit of reservations.
Yeah.
Sugar on my tongue is so good. This is so good.
You know, it's funny. Like I think back to
I'm having more of it.
I think back to LA IPA Fest. I don't even know, like 3 years ago, when we did those interviews and we interviewed Tony and we did some brewers, and the whole thing, like we talked about, like, and we interviewed it was specifically the judges, and it was like, what are you guys looking for when you're judging this competition?
Right.
And I know Hazy and West Coast are different things, but I think IPA as a whole, when it comes to just a perfectly executed beer, it comes down to the balance. And that's like, that always kind of stuck with me with those conversations with West Coast. It's like, you know, what do you look for? And balance. Like that was the number one primary thing that brewers look for in an IPA. And I think that's transferable to a hazy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you're dealing with like that massive hop presence, you do have to balance it, because otherwise it gets harsh, it gets over the top. I think in any beer, balance like plays a part, but in IPA I think it's especially important.
Yeah, I mean, I've had hazy IPAs where like it's almost too citrusy or too something, where like almost like tickles, or I don't say burns my throat, not like I'm on fire, but it's like,
no, that's a real thing.
Yeah, like there's a tickle there that I'm just like, I don't like this. Like I can't drink a full can of this because it doesn't go down as well as I
mean, that's hop burn, that's polyphenols. Yeah. That's a whole direction that we can do an entire other live tasting on, that like talks about how to tell the difference between bitterness and perceived bitterness and hop burn. But what you're saying, what you're getting to is that like good brewers can integrate hops in a way that complements the malt bill, that complements the alcohol on it, that complements the yeast. Right. And that, I think what it comes down to when you talk about balance means, do you want to do what you're just doing right now? Like, do you want to pick up the glass and take another sip and finish the beer? Right? Because that's what it comes down to, is, do you want to finish this beer? Do you want to take another drink of it? And there's some of these beers that, like, personally, like I was just talking about Soonday Dream. I love that beer. I thought that was my favorite of the tasting so far. And it might be my favorite, just because my palate leans towards what that hop combination has put together. But in terms of what we're drinking right now, it might be the best beer, the most balanced beer the most well-structured beer of what we've had so far, and it's amazing. It's really, really good. I can see why it took home a medal. It reminds me of the Radiant that we started with, where it was so well balanced that it was like you just want to keep going. It doesn't like push you or pull you in any one direction, even though that was like a 5.4% like really small beer. They do very similar things, and it kind of opens your eyes like, okay, I can see why it took home an award.
Yeah. I think it really comes down to that balance.
Best beer of the tasting so far, in my opinion. That was really, really, really good.
The only beer so far that we've poured seconds for.
And finished both of them. Yeah. And after this is done, if I'm going for another, it's probably that one too. But
the grand finale.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I'm going to set a timer on this one because I'm rambling, baby. Okay, so next up, final beer of the tasting. This is Super Merry Happy Holidays from Mumford Brewing in downtown LA. Now, this is a 10% triple IPA. This one's brewed for the holidays. They've made this beer the past couple years at the same time for the holidays. This is their big, blowout for the end of the year.
Well, and I like the design. It looks like a good stocking stuffer.
Yeah, it really does. This is really cool. Citra, Mosaic, and Nelson. You got a little Mosaic, you got a little Nelson.
First one was Mosaic.
Another Citra beer. I mean, are they all Citra? They all have Citra, except for we don't know about the Radiant beer, but they all have Citra.
Let's assume there's Citra in it.
Yeah, I'll assume that. So Mumford. So what's interesting about Mumford to me is they are widely considered one of the best hazy producers in Los Angeles. I sent Brett down to talk to Peter about hazy IPA, and he is very adamant that he is the originator of hazy IPA in Los Angeles.
Oh, Peter thinks that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they were on the forefront.
Yeah, so they came right in the beginning, right when Monkish came out. So Monkish and Mumford really kind of started the haze craze. Yeah, and when if you think back to those days, I'm thinking 2015, these guys, Mumford, were getting lines out of that like Skid Row, little Tokyo, downtown LA.
Basically a location where like nobody would ever step foot in until a brewery popped in and was
like you had to get in line to get their beers in the early days. Yeah. And so that was like kind of some of the fuel for haze on the West Coast. They've since kind of, I feel like your production capacity, the way you distribute kind of changes things. Monkish has obviously kept things very close to the vest, kept things very limited. This beer in particular was available on Tavour, I think last year. So people were drinking this beer. I went through Untapped. People were drinking the last batch of this beer like 6+ months after it was produced, like into like March, April, May. And I was like cringing. I'm like, okay, I get that you like made a deal with Tavour and they got your beer out there and people heard who you are, but that's probably not the best place for a hazy triple IPA to be at like a 6+ month
malt
consumption. Yeah. So this year, I'm pretty sure they've changed their direction and strategy, and I don't think that they're on Tavour anymore, and that this beer is a taproom only, or at the very minimum, like a limited distribution type of release. And so we have a 10% beer, and we're going to crack it open.
Let's do it. Yeah, I think it's especially with a beer like this, it's not one of those things you really want to like have sitting on the shelves or sitting in a distribution center waiting to get picked up. And I think giving it a little bit more exclusivity.
Go ahead.
The exclusivity of it, I think, also helps. And
totally. I think it's a huge piece of it. So I guess from an aesthetic standpoint, I don't see anything. I don't drink enough Mumford to be like, that's a Mumford haze. But I do know that Mumford doesn't really call their hazy IPAs. They're all called Northeast IPA. I don't think that has anything to do with what it looks like or anything like that. There's just different ways of describing things.
Well, I think because that was like, when I think back when hazy started becoming a thing, like the NE IPA, like that's how you described it. It was
and
like
they just
this is Northeast style.
it.
And then it became, well, it's just hazy, and the category got redefined. But sorry. But yeah, I think I kind of like that. I think that's kind of a it's a shout out to the style, the origin of the style here on the West Coast. It's like, there's a Northeast style, and that's the way we're going to do it.
Okay, so tell me your opinion on the nose, please.
I'm not a bloodhound like you are. I mean, sweet citrus, very overripe orange. It doesn't smell as boozy as I would think for a 10% beer.
It's kind of like dewy. Like it's like wet. It's like marshy and boggy. I feel like that's like what this beer is. Like it's got like this like
I never know where you come up with this shit.
It's got like this like foggy, marshy bogginess. Like it's not bright. Like you wouldn't describe this aroma as bright.
No, it's not bright.
It's wet. It's dewy.
Well, it's like dewy earth.
Cantaloupe.
I think there's a slight like earthiness to it too.
There's a little cantaloupe on this.
It's like whatever fruit grows.
There's mango.
Off the ground.
There's mango on this. Like, this isn't like super.
Is there a fruit that grows from the ground?
Dude, we already hit 6 minutes.
Well, yeah, because you're fucking.
All right, it's the last beer.
Talking it up, man.
We're allowed to have more than 6. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna taste it.
Yeah, it's got like a tinge of sweetness, but not over the top. Not what you would think for a 10% beer. It smells really nice. I really like the aroma.
Wow.
It tastes the booziest out of all these beers.
Of course. But
it's reined in.
But it's not, it's not like this, like, oh shit, I'm drinking like, ooh, this is 10%.
I feel like this the booziness is like there's some of these beers that like meander. Like they'll like soak into your tongue and the booziness will just be like this booziness like kind of hits you and then like a wave. It comes and then it pulls back. Comes and pulls back instead of like meandering out and just like completely taking over your mouth and be like, oh, that's a boozy ass beer. You like get hit with the booze, but you have this really nice flavor, hop flavor that comes in. That's like not overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's not overwhelming in any sort of like direction from a flavor perspective. It's just like it's very tropical. Really encompasses like your typical sort of flavor profile with any hazy. Although the more I drink it, like the boozier it gets. So I think like with the first sip, like that's
you're breathing fire.
Yeah. With each subsequent
there's a little
sip,
heat. There's heat on the exhale.
Yeah, I was like, this is a 10%.
Yeah,
beer.
it totally is. But
so there is that sweetness there, right?
But it's relatively dry, like though. Like it doesn't like there's the upfront sweetness, but it doesn't like linger sweet. I don't think. I think it lingers hot. It doesn't linger sweet, in my opinion.
Yeah. I guess it just kind of depends. I mean, we've drank so many different kinds of hazy IPAs tonight where, you put this up against like another triple IPA, hazy triple, and then you can start to really do the apples to apples stuff.
Right.
No, but this is.
I think if you're
good,
like think back to like other hazy triples that you've had.
I haven't really had that many.
I know.
Most triple IPAs.
But just think about what it would be like. This is relatively dry compared to what it would be like.
Yeah.
Like Adios Ghost. Yeah, it's like the ultimate.
Adios Ghost. Monkish. I remember that. Yeah.
They release it end of the year. I think
they're about to Adios Ghost is pretty damn good.
This is really good. On the exhale, it's got like white wine, like Chardonnay type of like.
I'm not a wine guy.
Yeah, this has a white wine type of component to it that, especially in the exhale, like when you're talking like there's a little booze coming out, there's a little white grape coming out with that as well. Like as it does when you have a glass of white wine, like that's a little bit more structured and less sweet. Little bit of berry, little bit of citrus, little bit of pineapple.
Yeah, there's a little berry there. Yeah, it definitely like is like a like there's like a marriage of tropical flavors, but there is like a some sort of like weird.
It's like dank blueberry. Yeah, it's definitely blueberry. It's not anything else, I don't think. But yeah, it's like a dank blueberry. It's like a white wine grape. It's like a little bit of orange peel. It's a little bit of lemon.
It's kind of like when you do like a like a wine spritzer with like you throw the berries in there.
Yeah.
And then like
you're getting skin contact.
And the berries soak up the alcohol. So I'm not talking about the drink itself, but then you take that blueberry out and you bite into it with like the soaked up booze.
It's boozy.
It's kind of like that.
It's a little dry. Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
It is really good. Yeah. I like this beer a lot. It's really good. Okay. So we've had the triple IPA. It's 10%. Nelson Mosaic Citra. I probably already said that. Really good beer. And super glad to have Mumford a part of the box to close it out. So if you've reached this part of the video, congratulations. Whether you did it all in one sitting, which I honestly, I hope you didn't. I hope you like broke this up into a couple different sittings because
luckily we're not drinking all the entire cans here. So,
but it's really worth tasting through all these very intentionally. And so these were a great group of hazy IPAs. And so, like I said, I wanted to call it back and throw a little bit of pick a little bit of our favorites for the batch. So aroma, and I wanted to do overall, and then I wanted to do can design. Okay. So for aroma, I know that I was digging. What did I dig? I dug this one and I dug this one.
Okay.
What did you dig? Okay, so I'm pulling out
this one,
Supercollider and Sugar on My Tongue as the two best smelling beers.
So I think I did love the Brewery West Supercollider, and it's obviously Holland Park, but I think I had to give it to Casa Agria.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's just like nostalgia because like I used to pop in there a lot more than I do these days. Actually, I haven't been there in a long time. But, there's a Casa Agria, I think they tend to kill it sort of on the, when I smell a beer, when I smell one of their IPAs, it's good. Like wow. It gives me something. It gives me some feels. All right. Well,
Okay. I think from an aroma standpoint, like just like brightness and the burst of fruit flavor, this one stands out in a massive, massive way. And you called out the flavor component or the aroma. Tangerine. This is a tangerine bomb, and it's bursting out of this can still after an hour. Super good. So my favorite beer to tasting has to go to the Highland Park Sugar on My Tongue.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Yeah, that's the best beer for sure. And then design. What'd you like the best?
Can design. I don't really have like a huge dog in the fight on this one, but
there's a few really good ones.
Yeah.
I'd say that the finalists are.
Yeah, I was gonna say like here. I was actually gonna pull out like I love like Casa's can designs. They're uniquely Casa, which is awesome, and and there's always some sort of like feel there's like a story when you get their designs.
I don't know what it is, but there's a story.
Yeah. But I was gonna call out this, especially because it's a holiday beer. It just, I don't know. I kind of like the colors. I like the design, the geometric aspects. And
yeah, time of year.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I'd probably give it to Mumford.
Yeah. Yeah. Mumford, best can design. For sure. That stands out.
Yeah,
You'll pick that out.
Yeah, it stands out.
All right, guys. So that's the tasting. Drop a comment. Let us know, what are your 3 favorites? Best aroma, best beer overall, and best can design. So thank you so much for purchasing the hot box, for tasting all these beers with us. Super stoked, and I can't wait to hear what you think of it. So drop a comment wherever this is. Like if it's in YouTube or on the website, there's comments there. Drop a comment. Let us know. Can't wait to hear what you think. And honestly, I'll drop this right here. This is probably the last hot box that ever happens. So yeah, I'm stoked that you got to be a part of the hot box, and I'm really excited that we put together something really special. And yeah, stay tuned for the next fun thing that we do, whatever that may be. All right, that's it. Peace out.
Later, guys.